And I am live. Welcome to my video where I will list my top 35 WrestleMania matches of all times. Now, yesterday I was on Raja.com and WWE had released a list of their top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time, which included Triple H versus Chris Jericho from WrestleMania 18, which Chris Jericho himself said wasn't a great match. It was actually quite a bad match, but it's in the WWE's top 35 matches, WrestleMania matches of all times. Now, there's a few choices in their Pacific list which I agreed on. Sorting my wig. Like number one, for example, was Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25, or what they still call the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania, which it wasn't. It was the 24th anniversary of WrestleMania, but it was the 25th installment. Now, I just happened to be at that match 10 years ago today, actually. I was in Houston, Texas, Reliant Astrodome. No, not the Reliant Astrodome, I was 17. I actually seen the Reliant Astrodome when I was there. It's right next to the Reliant Stadium. It's probably demolished now, the Reliant Astrodome. So I got to see the site of the greatest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 17. I was at one of the worst WrestleManias of all time, but one that did have what may be my favorite WrestleMania match of all time too. It was WWE's number one WrestleMania match of all time. Will it be mine? Let's crack on, shall we? There's nobody watching because no one likes wrestling. Not many people like me in general, and even less people like me and wrestling. So this is going to be a lonely live stream, I think. It doesn't really matter who pops in this specific live stream today because it's not a traditional PMDB live stream. As I've actually got a theme, I've got a topic. My top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time. It's inspired by WWE's list. So number 35 from WrestleMania 23. That WrestleMania where Donald J. Trump shaved Vince McMahon bald. My 35th pick is The Undertaker versus Batista. It was for the World Heavyweight Championship. To me, this match at WrestleMania 23 tore the house down at that Pacific WrestleMania. Is anybody here yet? I was going to do this as a non-live video. Oh no, it's going to take too long. I'm going to talk for too much. And I mean, I could edit it down, but it would be a hell of an edit. No, let's just do it live. Let's just do it live. My very fourth pick is going to be a match from WrestleMania 24. That WrestleMania I tried to watch live. I managed to watch parts live, but my Sky messed up 11 years ago. My very fourth pick is Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair. Now, Ric Flair's retirement match, or what was supposed to be his retirement match. You know, I was just thinking, Charlotte Flair's going to... And Charlotte Flair's very good. Charlotte Flair's very good. Charlotte Flair is going to headline main event WrestleMania this year. And when she does, she will have headlined main event more WrestleManias than Ric Flair. But moving on to pick number 33 is... from the greatest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 17. There's somebody here now. Who's here? Who's watching? That's Jenna. I should be wearing my fleece, Jenna. How are you doing? Welcome to my top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time. How are you doing today, Jenna? Fantastic seeing you in here. You're the only person here. Appreciate the thumbs up if that were you. So, my very third pick of greatest WrestleMania matches of all time is the original Triple H Undertaker match at WrestleMania is my 33rd slot match. WrestleMania 17 was the first WrestleMania I watched live, and I really enjoyed this match. I loved the spot. I felt sick at the time because I thought Triple H was going to end the streak, as the Undertaker was he was 8-0 at this point, and I thought, wouldn't it be horrible if Undertaker never made it to 10-0, and Triple H was the one to ruin that. There's a spot in that match where he's about to get a last ride. Triple H nails the Undertaker with a sledgehammer, and that was one of the moments in the Undertaker's undefeated streak that you thought the streak was definitely over. So that's my very third pick. Jenna says, "Oh, I heard something about that." Jessica R. I was going to make a joke about that at the start of this video. Yeah, when I logged into Twitter just now, it says if you have a mobile or just have a mobile and you have less than 1,000 fans, you can no longer go live, which would include me. I wouldn't be able to do this because I've got less than 1,000. I've got less than 700 fans. Never mind 1,000. Totally understand the bad mood, Jenna. YouTube's really it's like I feel like it's a sinking ship. I feel like the rats have already jumped off it. Tablets too. I guess this might. Why stop at tablets and mobile phones? I wouldn't be surprised if it happens to laptops as well, computers. So this could legit be my last live stream. Apparently, I've got 11 people watching, down to 7. Laptops are allowed, but for how much longer? So Jessica and Jenna, I appreciate you joining in. We've got a raid going on here. Redneck Raid. Wow, hello. Jono on the go vlogs. Yes, yes, people. Hello, Anthony. Northern Ohio. Nancy. Sister Donna. The Redneck Connection. Hot Rod 21. I wasn't expecting this. Ladies and gentlemen of the round table. That explains why there's more than usual number of people in here. I appreciate the raid. I don't think I've been raided before. Thank you very much. Lil Mug Z. Do you all need video ideas? I'm good just now. I'll be getting back to my list of top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time soon. Hello, Ron. Jenna says, hey, everybody. So I don't mean to be a dirty downer. It's just what I heard and tried out. I totally understand the frustrations, Jenna. CMWB72, Jimmy C and friends. Hey, I appreciate that. The ladies and gentlemen of the round table came to do this raid, it seems. You've caught me off guard. Sister Donna Center. If you generally enjoy this video, do hit that like button. Thank you very much. Upload video of my new challenge on my channel. Jonah on the go vlog says, hello, Jonah. I don't think I have been raided before. Not like this, anyway. Northern Ohio Railroad says, big WWE fan here, looking forward to this Sunday. Yes, hopefully will be good. We shall see. I appreciate the love. It's lovely to see all these people, all these raiders in. This is fun. I'm having a good time. Thank you very much to ladies and gentlemen of the round table. It's a bit like the floor is lava, but the floor is frozen. I'm lost, but everybody welcome in here. This is not a traditional live stream of mine. I've actually got a topic for a change. I've actually got a topic. Sister Donna Carter says, have a great stream later on. I appreciate all these new faces in here. Very cool. Right, I'm going to get on with my list. We'll nip on with this. So next on my list is, very second spot is the triangle triple threat match, whatever you want to call it, from WrestleMania 2000 between Chris Jericho, Kurt Angle, and he who dared not to be mentioned anymore, Chris Benoit. It was a damn good triple threat triangle match. Besides the T, what's this, Jenna? I get you. Very cool besides the T. Silly me. Jessica R says, I'm going to go to bed. Yeah, it must be pretty late for all you Americans and Canadians alike. It's morning here in Scotland. You take care, Jenna. I appreciate you coming in. I haven't been live so often lately, so I haven't seen a lot of your faces in a long time. I appreciate everybody that was raiding. That was fun. You take care, Jessica. I'll try and catch one of your live streams. And I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube with this 1,000 fan live streaming rule. I feel quite lucky I can go live because I've got a laptop, but how long will that last? I don't. Very strange. Very strange. Welcome to Keep Me Company, Jenna. It's I was kind of just be amazed, Jenna. Just be amazed. Just this world. What can we say? I believe Jessica R. Unless you've got a laptop, which I don't have I don't even have 700 fans. Never mind 1,000 fans. Me. Actually, let's get on with this list before I rant on about this latest YouTube ruling. Number 31 on my list is going to be that parking lot brawl at WrestleMania 12, 1996 between Roddy Piper and Goldust, which was basically a real fight between them. Basically, is what it was. Real punches being thrown. They weren't stunt men, and both of them. I was listening to a behind-the-scenes story about this match on Bruce Pritchard's Something to Wrestle With podcast lately. And he said how Vince McMahon had to bring Piper and Goldust to the hospital following it. So this basically a real fight at WrestleMania 12 it was highly entertaining, and it's very first on my list. Jenna says, "Yep, me too. Share the love. Please help us." Well, it's I didn't notice you'd went no well, obviously it never went live, but you'd uploaded a video. I did see the title, and I was going to check it out later on to see what's going on, but I didn't realize what was going on until I logged into Twitter and seen people complaining about it, rightly so. I mean, you know what really bugs me? You've got people with no videos at all on their YouTube accounts, and they've got 1,000 fans. How does that work? Got no content, nothing. We know how they got it, though. They got it because they're chat a lot in the live streams. That's how they got it. It's not because of anything else other than that. So number 30 in my top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time is the overrated Brock Lesnar match against Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19, which it main evented. To me, their match on SmackDown, their Iron Man match on SmackDown, is a lot better than this. And it's still a very solid wrestling match, but to me, number 29, The Undertaker versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania 21 is more watchable for me than Brock v. Angle. So I'll get on to number 28 in a moment. So number 29, The Undertaker versus Randy Orton, WrestleMania 21. So I'm going to go through this list and read with a chat too. Jenna says, I was notified by Beanie Loco. I think I know who that person is. She's a nice woman. I was watching her stream. I tried out my phone. I was wondering why it wouldn't share a video. Tried it in the iPod, same thing. I have no idea. Oh yes, my dad, I think, would know about this. Your dad know about what, Jenna? So let's see. Number 28, the Stone Cold Steve Austin's farewell match at WrestleMania 19. It was far from Rock and Austin's best match between the two, but it's number 28 on my list. And this is still a very fun match. And what I like about this match is Austin, no, it was not advertised as his last match, but it ended up being his last match. He just didn't tell too many people about it being his last match. He actually stayed retired. Stone Cold Steve Austin has not had a wrestling match since WrestleMania 19 in 2003. This could be a controversial choice here. Number 27, as it's very low on my list, is the rematch from their WrestleMania 25 classic, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker, in what was, for many years, Shawn Michaels' last match from WrestleMania 26. To me, this wasn't near as good as the WrestleMania 25 match, which, spoiler alert, is way higher on the list. The match I seen in person. To me, a lot of this is still a very good match, still very entertaining. But to me, they rushed into a lot of spots, and it just didn't feel as genuine as their WrestleMania 25 match, despite being, Shawn Michaels' career in the line and blah blah blah. It's my number 27 best WrestleMania match of all time. So I might not go down too well with some people. But you know what? I don't care because it's my list. Don't like it, dislike, and go watch somebody else. This is my list. No one's going to bully me into telling me about my WrestleMania rankings. Jenna says, WWE. I'm referring to her dad, my cousins, etc. Wait, one question. It's a sad one. What's that, Jenna? Number 26 on my list. Yes, I believe this match is better than The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 26. And that is Vince McMahon versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 22. I remember in the promo leading up to this match that Shawn Michaels wasn't going to have the 5-star classic this year. Well, he actually just about did. He really dragged Vince McMahon to an outstanding, very highly entertaining matchup. It's for me, it's definitely one of the highlights, if not the highlight, from WrestleMania 22. Uh, I don't think, I don't think Edge and Mick Foley made my top 35 cut. I did look at all the matches and you went through it, and then because I had rated all the matches last year for videos last year, and I don't think Edge and Mick Foley made the cut. So yeah, it's to me this was the match of WrestleMania 22, one of the matches that made WrestleMania 2 not turn out to be too much of a disaster. Oh yeah, that was Owen Hart, in nearly 20 years ago now. That was Owen Hart. He appears on my list there. He was such a tragic event there in 1999. Well, the people in attendance seen it. The people watching at home, I don't think seen it. But yeah, it was a very tragic event, and Owen Hart. I mean, he was one of the best wrestlers ever. Easily one of the best, and he 33 or 34. He was far too young, far too young. And he was one of my favorites as a child. Loved the steel cage match with Bret Hart, and he'd won the all-time greatest WrestleMania matches, which I'll get into in a moment. But yeah, Owen Hart was definitely one of the best ever. Now, number 25 on my list is Undertaker and Triple H's second match they had at WrestleMania. The one I ignored their first match, which was really stupid. It took place 10 years after, but it is better. It's not quite their best match they had. Their third match is higher up on the list, so their matches did improve. And I'm no Triple H fan. I don't think he's that damn good, but I will give credit where credit is due. Triple H has had some damn good matches in the past. And I thought this one at WrestleMania 27 was one of the few moments, good moments, great moments of WrestleMania 27. Next on my list at 24 is the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match. And if I can remember right, it was between Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, Kane, Christian, Shelton Benjamin. Tyson Tomko kept interfering in the match. Is there somebody else? This is going to bug me. Edge. How can I forget Edge? This was a damn good match. This was a damn good wrestling match, in my opinion. And it's 24 on by far the best Money in the Bank match ever at any show. Yeah, I was watching an old wrestling match the other day. Shawn Michaels teaming up with Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the Legion of Doom, and the Hart Foundation came down to interfere in that match, and it was just Bret Hart was backstage, but the rest of them came out, including Owen, Brian Pillman, Jim Neidhart, and the British Bulldog. All of them are no longer here, and that was just in 1997, which really, I know it's 22 years ago now, but still, it's like it's quite insane how many, especially in the Hart family, how many wrestlers are no longer with us, and a lot of them died very young, 30 some cases, 40s. No problem, Jenna. Um, and it's quite eerie, especially there's only one member left of that Hart Foundation. Ridiculous. Number 23 on my list is a match that took place at WrestleMania 18, featuring a guy that was past his prime. I've been watching it on replay. I think it gets better on repeat. This match, my number 23rd place match. Now WWE had their top 35 list, had Triple H and Chris Jericho in it from this show. I'm like, really? Chris Jericho, Triple H was better than Flair and The Undertaker. It wasn't even better than Scott Hall and Austin, and that's not even on my list either. Triple H. It was one of the most boring matches ever. But this one, Undertaker versus Undertaker did that thing at the end. You know, he went. I just loved the little bits in the matches. He went 10-0 at WrestleMania 18. I was so chuffed with that. Right person that went over, but a very highly entertaining matchup. And one of my favorite spots is Ric Flair's pretty old at this time, and the Undertaker gives him one of the most ridiculous suplexes off the top turnbuckle you'll ever see, and he didn't really hold back on Ric Flair. It was funny. It definitely was funny. Jenna says, "Lol." Number 22 on my list is the tables match, triangle ladder match. It wasn't quite a tables, ladders, and chairs match, but it pretty much was, although it wasn't named that until later, between Edge and Christian, Hardys, and the Dudley Boys from WrestleMania 2000. Their other ladder match at WrestleMania is higher on the list, but this one was very entertaining. And WrestleMania 2000, WrestleMania 10 are two of the WrestleManias which I missed for various reasons since becoming a wrestling fan. And the ladder matches both times, like I was gutted I never got to see this one live. And but when I watched it, got around to watching it, fantastic matchup. This will maybe be another controversial choice because it's quite low on this list. And what I will say, every match on this list ranges from good, could be great, to wrestling heaven on earth, which we'll get to. We'll get to there. Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho from WrestleMania 19 is number 21 on my list. Perhaps in years gone by, it would have been in my top 10, but you know what? Lately, I think, for example, my 20th placed match, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. It's a better match than this. Yes, my 20th. Roman Reigns, whom I'm no fan of, wrestler-wise. Spoiler. Will I spoil it yet? Yes, I will spoil it, because guess who doesn't appear in this list at all? John Cena, the so-called greatest wrestler of all time. He's not my... I've named 35 WrestleMania matches that are much better than every single John Cena WrestleMania match. The greatest of all time doesn't make my list. But Roman Reigns, who I'm not a fan of either, he makes my list. He's in my 20th spot. Him and Brock Lesnar, credit where credit is due, had a fantastic main event. Seth Rollins, of course, cashed in his money in the bank at the end of the match, but this match was a damn good match. And I don't think anybody was looking forward to it. I'm a huge Brock mark. I think he's underrated, if anything. I've never been a fan of Roman Reigns, and probably never will, wrestler-wise. I'm sure he's a lovely guy, you know, outside of wrestling. Maybe John Cena's lovely too. I'm sure he's. I'm sure he's wonderful. He just. It's a shame he can't wrestle. Anyways. I know me. Um, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns with Seth Rollins cashing in his Money in the Bank was a great WrestleMania match and moment. Now, one Brock Lesnar match that doesn't appear in this list that I will mention is his match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 30. Now, if this was about moments, shocking moments, the WrestleMania 30 match for that streak ending moment would probably be at the top of the list because there has never been a moment like that at WrestleMania. You've got to suspend your disbelief for wrestling. And that was one of the legit times where wrestling produced a shock outcome. Arguably for that moment alone, it maybe should have appeared in this list, but other than the shock moment at the end with the streak ending, we'd be lying to say it was a great match. We'd be lying. So number 19th on my list is another very entertaining match. Shane McMahon versus Vince McMahon, WrestleMania 17. Number 18th placed is another one from WrestleMania 17, the TLC 2 with the Dudleys, Hardys, Edge, and Christian. These two matches were on one after another at WrestleMania 17. It was at that point, especially during TLC 2, you were like, this is a really, really great pay-per-view. And then when you get to Wrestling Heaven with Rock and Austin at the end, you're like, and it has never been beat. WrestleMania 17 is the greatest wrestling pay-per-view. It's the greatest wrestling pay-per-view ever. And a couple of reasons is these two matches. Shane McMahon versus Vince is so fun. I love the moment when Linda McMahon stands up from her chair and, it's really fun. It's a very over the top, silly storyline leading into the whole thing. And, Vince McMahon was never the greatest in ring wrestler. He never was meant to be. But his character, his Mr. McMahon character, is, regardless what you think of the man, he's really good. He just, you want him to get a stunner. You want him to get an ass whooping, the Mr. McMahon character. So he's a very, very good bad guy. Shane McMahon was outstanding. One of the most memorable WrestleMania spots ever is that spear Edge did to Jeff Hardy when Jeff Hardy was hanging onto the belts and Edge speared him. That was one of those. It was like that Mick Foley jumping off the Hell in a Cell moment. It was like, I can't believe they put their bodies through that. Even though it's all staged, we know it's fake. But there's a lot of severe injuries, really bad. Some people like really bad injuries, and in some cases death with some of the wrestling moves. And even for these TLC matches or the Hell in a Cell matches, you watch when you're younger and think highly entertaining, crazy, but then when you become an adult, you're thinking, was it really worth it? Was it really worth it for entertainment? Because Mick Foley, who's doing all these stunts, took all these chair shots to the head, is really struggle. I think he really struggles to get about now. And number 17 on my list is perhaps the most iconic wrestling matchup of all time. It's probably the most known wrestling match of all time. Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant, main event of WrestleMania 3. Now, of course, it's not the greatest in-ring match of all time. However, Jenna says, I know. Yes, of course. Sorry, Jenna. I wasn't looking at the chat there. Hogan Andre, really made WrestleMania, the WWF, a household name. And I don't think there was a more anticipated match than this one. And I think it was never going to be a Bret Hart Shawn Michaels. It wasn't meant to be, but it had the moment with uh, Hogan slamming Andre, going over Andre, defeating Andre, made Hogan an even bigger star than he already was. It was such a, you know, memorable moment. And for me, this is the 17th greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Jenna says, "Oh, dang, I was going to say me and my sister." Yes, of course. Yes, for sure. Out of nosiness, have you got many siblings, Jenna? I've got the one sister. Um, I've got a small family. I try and keep them private. Um, just cause. Um, I do have a small family, and the ones, I do love them to bits. So you got a small family like me then. I'd have liked maybe more siblings. It would have been fun, but just the one sister. She's like a second mom. Jenna says family is small on the one side. So let's see where I'm glad I wrote this down. If I didn't write this down, this wouldn't have been able to do this. Number 16 on the list is this could have been swapped with Hogan Andre, but it's Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's a pretty decent match, but it's more about the moment. It's more about Steve Austin going over Shawn Michaels was so important at the time. Hulk Hogan put the WWF on the map. Stone Cold Steve Austin saved the World Wrestling Federation. No one can take that away from him. He put the WWF ahead of WCW. Now, there was help along the way, but Stone Cold Steve Austin was the friggin' guy in 1998. And it's like Hogan slamming Andre. Steve Austin giving Shawn Michaels the Stone Cold Stunner. Shawn Michaels was untouchable at the time, or we thought he was untouchable at the time. So this was a fantastic moment. And Mike Tyson coming in to count the three, very memorable WrestleMania moment and match, and number 16th on my list. Jenna says, other side larger, but they could. Jenna agrees with what I said about Hulk Hogan. Yeah. People get. I love Hulk Hogan. He's, I would say there's not one wrestler on this list that hasn't said something offensive or done something even worse. To me, Austin's done worse. And the banned Hogan for 3 years, right? But to me, there's not one person on this list. We're all very flawed. I'm not excusing for anything you said. It was disgusting what you said, but what bugs me, Jenna, is the double standards that WWE has and social media has. And I'm all about forgiving too. And there's not one person, hello, Steve, there's not one person on this list that hasn't said or did something offensive in the past. And I think Hogan was, he got a raw deal for 3 years, I believe. He should have just apologized and moved on. And that should have been that. But, it is what it is. I hate that saying. Why do I keep saying that? How you doing today, Steve? I'm having Steve withdrawals. I've missed your conspiracy live streams, Jenna. I'm not sure. I know there's a few others in here that go into Steve's streams as well. I'm not sure if you're one, Jenna, but if he does go live again, I highly recommend his live streams. Fantastic. Oh, Steve's hungover today, dude. Why be making your hungover worse? Do you need a Stone Cold Stunner, Steve? Maybe that will help. A PMDB Stunner. Right, the next match on my list. Owen Hart, late great Owen Hart, and his brother Bret Hart had. If this happened at any other WrestleMania, this would have stole the show. I'll get to the one that did steal the show at WrestleMania 10, just slightly above this match. But this is the greatest opening match in WrestleMania history. Bret Hart, Owen Hart, fantastic feud. The chemistry they had was just off the rails. I do prefer their SummerSlam 94 match, but their match at WrestleMania 10, Owen Hart beat him as well, spoiler, which was another shock result. You didn't think Owen Hart was going to win this one, knowing what we know now with Bret Hart becoming champion at this show. It was fun to see Owen going over, but damn, like every move they do is to perfection. Fantastic match. In number 14th place, what Steve's saying now. I need a stone cold pint here of the dog will fix me. Jenna knows the Hart family. Steve says I'm great. Cheers. I hope you are well. Yes. Mike, are you going to grab one, Steve? So this has been a live stream. Been going through my top WrestleMania 35, or the top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time. John Cena doesn't appear in any. The so-called greatest of all time. Not even his match last year with The Undertaker appears in this list. I'm sorry. I did rate all the WrestleMania matches last year, and I don't think John Cena got any more than a 3 stars out of 5. I thought maybe his Rock and Cena match from WrestleMania 28 would make the top 35 list, but I went through all the matches and it just wasn't. Didn't make the list. None of his matches made a list. Greatest of all time. What a laugh. And I'm not being biased or anything. If I had my way, Jake the Snake Roberts, one of his matches would be in here, but I've got to be honest, Jake the Snake Roberts, his matches never got enough time. He got sort of a raw deal at WrestleMania a lot of time. And I would have, if I were really biased, I would have had one of his matches in here. I would have not had Roman Reigns in this list because I'm not a fan of him and don't like him being forced down our throats. But I've done this unbiased. And in my estimation, this is the definitive top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time. Let's see. Steve says maybe tonight. My cousin's Lear. Oh, brilliant. I'd love to visit Canada someday. Bret Hart always seems like a nice guy in his interviews. I've always had a lot of time for the Hitman. Yeah, so I believe, Jenna, they're a good family. Steve says, I was at the boozer yesterday, got home late from the shop, so I end up on wine. My head is self-inflicted. No. You want me to give you a people's elbow? Maybe that'll help things, Steve. I could do a people's elbow. I've always thought the Stone Cold Stunner probably would hurt you more than the important because you're falling on your backside. And I've always felt like the people's elbow, I think, would hurt you more, Steve. I think. Jenna says, would it be wrong to plug my cat's noise with Q-tips to stop him from snoring? Probably. Your cats, from what I've seen in your pictures, follow each other on Twitter. Very cute cats, very cute cats. Double JD, oh. No wonder, Steve, you've got a headache today. Feeling it today. I know you're joking, I know you're joking. So cute, the cats. I love cats. My rescue, well, they're very cute rescue buggers. And where were we in my list? Number 13. Well, I nearly skipped. Number 14 in my list is Ricky Steamboat versus the Macho Man Randy Savage from WrestleMania 3. If Hogan and Andre drew the fans in at WrestleMania 3, this match stole the show. Steamboat and Savage was ahead of its time. Now, number 13 on my list is he who should not be mentioned anymore, Chris Benoit, who allegedly done those dastardly deeds, allegedly, against Shawn Michaels and Triple H, my favorite of all time, Triple H. I love him. But he's in my number 13th match. I give the devil his due. This triple threat match was absolutely outstanding, near perfect, very solid wrestling match. And I think some fans at the time were kind of scratching their head thinking, why is Shawn Michaels in this match? He just seemed to have been thrown in, but like he always does, he elevated this match. I don't think Chris Benoit versus Triple H would have been near as good as this. So to me, this was the main event of WrestleMania 20, and very deserved to be the last match. The most hyped up match going into WrestleMania 20 was Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. But both men ended up leaving the company after it, and it ended up being placed in the middle, and they got booed out of the arena because their match stinked up the joint, and this match ended up being the main event and tore the house down in Madison Square Garden. Right, we're getting to the nitty-gritty here. Next up is my top 12 WrestleMania matches of all time, as I go back to the chat. Steve says, I meant to go down to town and have some lunch and saw a few things, ended up starting with a quick dinner time pint and didn't leave until closing time. Jenna says, oh dang, Steve, you didn't get us. I know, right, how rude. I've had that happen. I hope you feel better. Steve also goes on to say, I am meeting up with Eagle VP again soon. Hope Keith's doing well to visit RAF. Next, top secret nuclear bunker 15 floors deep into the ground, crikey, preserved in the same condition as when it operated. Oh, I'm assuming you're going to be taking some videos, yeah? There's not going to be any commercial breaks in this live stream. Just going to list the rest of my matches off. Making sure I haven't missed any matches. Don't think I have. Jenna and I were discussing, have you seen the new rule about live streaming, Steve? If you do it on mobile and don't have 1,000 fans, which I don't have, you won't be able to live stream anymore. What's your thoughts? OMG, no way. What's that, Jenna? If you get to 10, there's a fleece boogie dance countdown. I love it. Jenna, me and you, I love our fleece and cat bond. Steve says, yeah, man, videos and some drone footage of the shack that sits there. I think I'm going to bully Keith into getting his live videos up again. That's correct, Steve. Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. I don't know why you can do it with a laptop, but you can't do it with a phone or tablet. It's I don't understand that one, but so this actually I wouldn't be surprised if they say no to laptops too. So this could very well be my last live stream. Because I've not even got a 700 fans yet. And well, to be honest, the reason I've done this live is I think it's absolutely nuts. The reason I did this live is because this would have taken me too long to upload, and no, I'm not uploading this. So I thought I'd go live. Hey God, the good one, how are you doing? Yeah, I just wondered your thoughts on it, Steve. It sounds like a I try not to think about YouTube's guidelines too much. It will give you a severe headache. You won't want to wake. You want to stay in your bed, you know. and just live in your dreamland from it all this no political correctness in here. I'm not sure what it just seems to be part of the whole mass censorship. That's what it seems to be. The whole sort of join the dots. Before again to my top 12 WrestleMania matches of all time. Spoiler alert, John Cena doesn't appear in any. You can't see him in this list. See what I did there? What was I talking about again? See, I'm getting old now. I'm 31 now. I'm starting to lose my train of thought. And then it becomes awkward and I can't edit these bits out. This PC laptop expected no. It's so bizarre. Isn't that racist that you can't? Is that not racist against mobiles that you can't live stream on mobiles, but you can live stream on laptop? Not very politically correct. Not that I'm complaining because I could do it for the time being. Took me nearly 9 years to get 500 fans. Christ, if they cut off the laptop, it could be years until I'm live again. God, the good one says, can you use a tablet linked to a phone? I'm not. That's a good idea. I'm not sure. This is all news to me. Yes, thank you, Jenna. I'll get out. Number 12 on my list is a match I feel like over delivered. WrestleMania 8, which I've always had a soft spot for. WrestleMania 8 was the WrestleMania I watched when it came out during the time. I watched it a couple of days after. It was on Sky Movies Plus of all channels. I watched it a day after, loved the Olmec Warrior surprise return, blah, blah, blah. It's one of my favorite childhood memories watching this show. And to me, Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper is a fantastic match. And one of the most genuine and one of the best WrestleMania matches ever. Number 11th on the list, just above it, and just out of top 10 is Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels that stole the show at WrestleMania 10. Their classic ladder match. So many people still talk about today. Next up is my top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. Spoiler alert, John Cena is not in them. Hello from Reading. Hello there, Jay the Silencer. Nearly an hour into this live stream. I'll wrap things up and maybe the hour mark. No problem, Jenna. Let's see. Steve says, hi, God, the good one. I saw your sub. Needed a... Oh, thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate that. If you're talking to me. But I mean, if they say, oh, no more live streams on the laptop as well, which I think they might do. Why not? Might as well. Thank you very much, Steve, for that. Could be a long time, which is it's kind of a good thing because I had this topic that would have taken too long to upload as a video, hence why I went live, but then a lazy live stream instead. I guess, Jenna, we'll just have to, us very, very small YouTubers will just have to stick with the non-live videos. YouTube's a sinking ship. Maybe it's about time we all just left and joined BitChute. I think it might be time. Jay the Silencer says, I tweaked the YouTube for phones and tablets. I clicked Chrome and clicked desktop version, and it worked. So there, I think the God, the good one, if he's still here, there they go, God. It does work. In a way. Right. Number 10. top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time. Is I can't believe I'm saying this. Triple H is in my top 10 WrestleMania matches of all time, thanks to Shawn Michaels being the referee, thanks to his opponent, The Undertaker, and the streak being on the line. Hello, Frankie. So my number 10th place match is The Undertaker versus Triple H in a Hell in a Cell, featuring special guest referee Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 28. This was a very, very good match. Can't take that away. And for a split second, my day is doing good. Frankie, how is your day? Steve's on a hiatus from really, Steve. Wow. Steve, I'm already having withdrawals from your videos. Please stay. Please stay. Until we're all kicked off, at least. I will say, the Article 13 being passed really was like as if someone walked up and kicked me in the balls, because you just know what this is going to lead to. And I must say, not too long, about an hour, Frankie, compared to usual. I haven't done much since the Article 13 was passed. I'm like, I got to the stage like, what's the point kind of thing. Am I even allowed to talk about the WWE? You know, how's this copyright thing going to work? Someone says that basically the plan. Well, actually, let's not talk about conspiracy. See, I'm nervous to even talk about anything on YouTube these days. Oh, I believe a lot of people are mad about Jay the Silencer. From what I've seen, I would be quite annoyed if I never got to go live today to do this video. I would have had to upload this. I probably wouldn't have done it because it would have took too long to upload. Anyways, I was talking about my 10th place match, The Undertaker v Triple H. To me, Shawn Michaels, a special guest referee, elevated this match. Next up is my number 9th pick. I can't blame you, Jenna. Steve says, I'm sticking around, mate. I will be streaming one night next week explaining where I've been and what I am up to at the moment. No 10 for, oh, boo. PC upgrade coming real soon. Wow. And I don't think Steve's talking about political correctness. It's quite late for you in California, then, Jay the Silencer. So my 9th place match. Now, this match, when WrestleMania 21 happened and that dreadful John Cena era started to take off, the greatest of all time, of course. This match made me proud to be a wrestling fan. It took place at WrestleMania 21. Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels. Oh, just outstanding. You knew it was going to be special, but they really did deliver. And what's even more amazing, they had better matches after this match. But this was still, in my view, the 9th greatest WrestleMania match of all time. Jenna says it's ridiculous. YouTube was a great platform, and then they started to slip more. And all the copyright stuff is understandable, but how can you grow your channel when you can't even upload? Well, I think you can upload, Jenna, but you can't live stream, right? I could be wrong. This could be the last PMDB video ever. Yeah. Steve says Steve's gonna go into lurk mode, so best not talk about him. I appreciate you lurking, Steve. Good company. You take care, Frankie. Live streams etc. To get people, especially the ones that are really good to your channel and don't know you, to get you those views. It's all about greed. Yes. The root of all evil. Money. With Queen Lizard on notes. The root of all evil. Money. It's been staring us in the face since birth. It's almost like they're laughing at us. Anyways, was I sinking into a conspiracy theory there? Better watch my language. Now let's talk about conspiracy theories. Let's talk about fake fights. So number 8 on my list is another one from WrestleMania 8. It's Ric Flair versus the Macho Man Randy Savage. I love this match. This is like an Attitude Era match in the golden age of wrestling. Just everything. The promos. It's a very silly storyline, very just fun. The promos leading up to this match. The entrance, the Mr. Perfect bouncer bit where he hauls Randy Savage off Ric Flair. All fun. He looks like a cursed bouncer when he does. Miss Elizabeth getting involved at the end. Ric Flair, this is for you, baby, and all this non-PC stuff that you're allowed to get away with in 1992. And just such a great match. And then afterwards, their promos from Savage and Flair afterwards. That's characters. That's wrestlers. Macho Man's promo, full of passion. Ric Flair's promo, full of passion, bleeding all over the place. That's wrestlers. That's characters. That's what I loved about wrestling. Characters and characters that had unlimited passion for this fake sport. Jada Silencer says, I played music always in my live streams. I rarely get copyright and normally delete streams after I do play music. It's I think streams with music in the background, and I think as long as you're talking over them, I don't see a problem. Steve says, I once got a copyright strike on my gaming channel. I streamed a game called Lunar Lander, and every once a few minutes. Oh, yeah, I remember you talking about it, Steve. How ridiculous. But God, will need permission to breathe soon. Same here, Jay. Number 7 on my list is from WrestleMania 7. Couldn't have made this up. Is the Olmec Warrior versus Macho Man Randy Savage, which was supposed to be Macho Man Randy Savage's last ever wrestling match. This match had everything you could have wanted. 2 larger-than-life characters going at Warrior and Savage. I mean, and the moment after the match with Elizabeth and Savage reunited had fans in attendance crying, job done, job done. Crying over fake fights. My goodness. This in-ring wise, I mean, there's another Warrior match higher up than this, but in-ring wise, Warrior's best match. In-ring wise, Savage really brought out the best in the Warrior here. I've gone live, I think, 3 times. I don't think I've ever caught you live before, Jenna. Deleted it. Oh, you deleted it because of personal content. Fair enough. Yes, no TV, no radio, no music, and be playing whatever. YouTube has gone beyond their control. With I don't understand. As a business point of view, I don't understand all this. I thought it was really alarming when you had the CEO of YouTube, Susan, what's her name? I try not to keep up with these people because they just give me a headache, if I'm being honest. Probably living dangerously saying that on YouTube, but they do. And they clearly want to pick and choose who's on here. They want to skip past some of the guidelines and just be like, you're gone. I don't like your view out. Like they're trying to get rid of Ben Superior. Can never pronounce the surname. Got rid of Alex Jones. I think they're going to get rid of Tommy Robinson, and it just it's getting a bit too much. Number 6 on my list. Now this was amazing when you first watch this. I watched this. I was how old was I? 1996. 8. Huge Shawn Michaels. I always wanted to be Shawn Michaels when I was older. I wanted to have long hair like him. I wanted to be Shawn Michaels. I wanted to be like Shawn Michaels, and I loved it. Loved it when he beat Bret the Hitman Hart in this Iron Man match from WrestleMania 12. It's one of the rare good guy versus good guy matches. Usually it's good guy versus bad guy, and this was outstanding. It doesn't really get better in repeat viewing. This is one of those matches which works best if you don't know the outcome. And you watch it for the first time, and it's one of the best matches in WrestleMania history and one of the greatest moments. Number 5 on my list, 2002. I watched this one live on the television, Sky Sports 1. Icon versus icon, two of the biggest icons in wrestling history. The Rock, I mean, he's on a different planet from all the wrestlers now. The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania 18, 2002. It was The Rock, he was the man at the time. He was the biggest star at the time. Him and Austin were neck and neck. It was like Austin's the man and Rock's the man. Austin's, we were very lucky growing up in the late 90s and early 2000s. We had two legit household names, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. And then there was Hulk Hogan, who's the biggest name in wrestling history ever, until probably The Rock. And in fact, I would say Hulk Hogan, in wrestling anyways, is still the biggest name ever. I mean, I don't think, if Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff was around in the 80s and 90s, I mean, I could only imagine how many followers Hogan would have had. Anyways, he came back. He had not been seen at WrestleMania since WrestleMania 9, and been 9 years. And I was not a Rock fan. I was a Steve Austin fan. Steve Austin, Mark, love Steve Austin, beautiful bald man that he is. And I was not wanting The Rock to beat Hogan. No way. And took place at the Toronto Sky Dome. And this is more of a moment than a match, but I think it's criminal if you don't place this match in the top 10, because when you think back at WrestleMania matches, wrestling matches, you think back at this match. The Rock versus Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And I remember the crowd going up when Hulk Hogan, he got the better of The Rock to begin with in the match. And the crowd was just nostalgia. The crowd was just eating it up. And he was supposed to be the bad guy in this match, Hogan. The Rock got booed out of the building. Biggest star in the company at the time was getting booed out of the, and he was legit. He wasn't like a John Cena forced down our throats. The Rock was a legit star this time. And Hulk Hogan came back and The Rock was getting booed out of the building. It was hilarious. Let's see. Jenna says you can't say the S words, meaning the ones that are listed that you can't say it. I will exact it up. It's ridiculous. It's I don't know. See, the less I pay attention to what's going on, the less headaches I get. It just feels like sinking ship, and maybe it's time we all left. If I didn't, I think I've never deleted one video, never will. Obviously never deleted any channels because I've never deleted any video. I've got good, bad, and ugly. I've got really bad videos on here, but I feel like if you start going down that road, then I'd have nothing left. 1 and 2, I think it's fake. And you start to hide bad videos and stuff. I think, hey, Gemma's Journey Grace. I think it's more real. That I want all my videos to be available. I don't care about the cringe-worthy stuff now. I really, I think I love all my videos being available. But if I didn't have so many videos, I could have seen me I would have never deleted YouTube, but I could have seen me just starting to upload new videos, live streams, wherever, to another site by now, and just never upload it here again. I think that's what I would have done. But since they've got me, they've got me. Here we are. My 1427th video, 251st live stream, I believe, overall. Done a lot of live streams in 2018. Gemma was a part of a lot of those. Not so much live streams so far this year in comparison to last year. And I'm talking about fake fights, 35 fake fights, the greatest fake fights of all time. Number 4 on my list. This could have easily been number 1, actually, because I can't think. And new fans of wrestling, they might think, oh, really, really? Yes, Hulk Hogan versus the Ultimate Warrior is one of the greatest wrestling matches of all time. 2 larger-than-life characters. Was Mickey Mouse against Donald Duck at the time. They were the 2 biggest. Like, when I first got into wrestling, it was, you were a Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior fan, end of. It was like Hogan, Warrior, then everybody else. And to me, this match over-delivered, and it was just such a special moment seeing Hogan finally get beat, because that was unheard of at the time. And it's just, they've never met before either. And this is their one of 2 matches. We won't mention their second match in WCW. Let's not go there. But this one at WrestleMania 6, 1990, the Toronto Sky Dome, same place as The Rock and Hogan from 18. Just, I don't think it gets much better, much bigger main event than 2 of your legit most popular stars going one-on-one at a time when wrestling was so popular. Hogan versus Warrior, 2 cartoon characters coming to life, colliding. Where Jenna lives. If I'm ever over Jenna, I have to show me the Toronto Sky Dome. I think it's called the Rogers Building now, but it used to be called the Toronto Sky Dome. Gemma, good morning, Gemma. I'm here talking about fake fights, listing my top WrestleMania matches of all time. I'm about to get into top 3 territory. You know what? I'm going to treat myself to a cup of tea. I'll be right back. And coming up next, it's my top 3 WrestleMania matches of all time. Spoiler alert, John Cena's not in any of them. John Cena's not been in any of these matches. And I thought he was going to be in one, at least one. But no, his best match against The Rock at WrestleMania 28 didn't make my cut. Sorry, John boy. Sorry. Yeah, John Cena's apparently the biggest, best star in wrestling ever. Like, it's, WWE would like you to believe it's John Cena number 1, Roman Reigns number 2. Roman Reigns appeared in my list. I mean, I'll give credit where credit's due. I don't particularly like Triple H, but he's been featured in a lot of my matches I've talked about, because he's put himself in a lot of WrestleMania matches, funnily enough. You're about 25 minutes from the former Toronto Sky Dome. Undertaker's been listed in a lot of matches so far. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to get myself a cup of tea, and I'll name. I know it's so exciting. I know you can probably hardly contain yourself. My top 3 WrestleMania matches of all time. I'll be right back. Behave yourselves now. I'm back. Right. Let's see. Hope you're doing well. To Gemma, who's still here. Steve's still lurking. We'll speak about Steve now. Thank you very much, Jenna. So my top three WrestleMania matches of all time are coming up next. I've been going through my top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time. My top 10 were The Undertaker versus Triple H from WrestleMania 25 with special guest referee Shawn Michaels. Number ninth place was Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle from WrestleMania 21. Eighth place was Randy Savage versus Ric Flair from WrestleMania 8. Seventh place was Warrior versus Savage from WrestleMania 7. Number 6 was Shawn Michaels. He's appeared in a lot of these matches. Versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 12. 5 was The Rock versus Hogan. And from WrestleMania 18, same arena as my fourth place match, the Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 6 main event from the Toronto Sky Dome. And there's a little fun fact for those that were unaware. The Rock versus Hogan, two of the biggest icons in wrestling ever, top three. It wasn't the main event of WrestleMania 18. The crappy match between Triple H and Chris Jericho, which Chris Jericho himself said was the you know what, and he swore there. That was the main event. Rock Hogan was the the third last match of the night. anyways. Hold on, do I need nappy? Maybe. I love The Rock, Jenna says. I love The Rock. Now, let's get into this final list. He's huge in more ways than one, eh, Jenna? He's like today's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Big star, huge, could definitely be a Terminator. Number 3 on my list is from 1997, WrestleMania 13. It was the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was battling Bret the Hitman Hart that got the best out of Stone Cold Steve Austin in their infamous I Quit match, or famous I Quit match. Bring on WrestleMania. Hey Pixie, how you doing? I'm 110% sure that's you. I remember you changing your name lately. You know what was funny? Since it's definitely Pixie, that's what he says. How do you, lad? I was watching Jeanette's live stream from the other night on replay. I had it on the background, and I thought my house phone was going off. I've got the same ringtone as my house phone. I thought that was funny. Who's phoning us at this time of night? Because I was doing a YouTube binge watch, and it was funny. So number 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart had a classic match at the Survivor Series '96 as well, worth checking out. But Steve Austin, one of the most memorable moments at WrestleMania was him passing out to the sharpshooter, the dangerous sharpshooter. It bloody well hurts. I don't know if anybody's had a sharpshooter before or Boston Crab. It actually works. His face pouring of blood, passed out. Ken Shamrock was a special guest referee, a legit badass Ken Shamrock. And just very, very solid wrestling match. You've got to suspend your disbelief for wrestling, but this one was like, you really thought they hated each other sometimes. Oh, no wrestling moves on me unless it's the wife. Pixie says. Moving on to number 2 on my list now. This could have easily been number 1, but I can't put it number 1. 10 years ago today, I seen this. I was lucky enough to see this match in person. Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker from WrestleMania 25, which was WWE's number 1 WrestleMania match of all time. To a lot of fans, it's number 1. And I seen it in person. WrestleMania 25 was one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. I was in attendance, I can say that. But this match tore the house down. I spoke about this match a lot of times. It could have easily been my number one, but anyways, this match is I seen it in person, and I remember the first thing we're discussing was when the wrestling fans were getting a plane journey home. Everybody was saying, "Can't wait to rewatch this match to see what JR's reaction was like." And I think one of the lines he said during the match was, "I think I'm having an out of body experience." It's one of those WrestleMania matches, especially this last 10 years. Can't believe it's been 10 years since I was 21, 10 years since I was at this show. Oh, God, I'm so old getting. Bring JR back. Well, I believe, speaking of good old JR, it's quite funny. I bumped into a WWE fanboy on Twitter the other day and I got a rollicking. He went to town when I dared say that the WWE commentary team's not that great. They all sound like robots. Well, JR, I believe, signed this huge contract with the up and coming wrestling promotion AEW. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, Pixie. There's a new wrestling uh, promotion up and coming, and they've got a lot of money. This um, people that are behind it, they own Fulham FC, so they're loaded this lot. And I think it's going to be great for the wrestling business. I think WWE Vince McMahon needs competition. He's needed competition for a long time, and I think this will be great for the wrestling business because wrestling's not been great. I mean, poor Jenna's been here since the start, and she's had me list all my top 35 matches of WrestleMania history where John Cena didn't appear in one. Roman Reigns appeared in one match. There's no Daniel Bryan. I like Daniel Bryan, but compared to the legends of the past, they just don't compare. They just don't compare. Absolutely, and I think it's about time they had actual competition. And because the way, I mean, there's a segment on Raw I thought was very good between the ladies, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Ronda Rousey. No women matches appeared in this list. That's not me being. This is me being honest, by the way. This is me being honest. One of the women's matches almost appeared in the list, but I just didn't think it was as good as my 35th spot match. And I've got to be honest, there's no BS, no PC BS on here. I don't put in matches just to be politically correct, but perhaps this Sunday, the main event between the women, that will make its way into my rankings. We shall see. Might be number one. Probably not, but never know. Never say never. Anything can happen in the WWE. Remember that. Let's see. Jenna says, "I'm sorry, just not into." I can totally understand that one. Pixie says, "I thought TNA was going to do good, but no, they just fell." But yeah. All pay-per-view matches played in the bars. That must have been fun, Jenna, if you didn't like wrestling, all the matches being played in the bars. I've never watched wrestling, WWE in a bar before. I think that would be interesting. I've watched football matches in bars. Never watched wrestling in a bar before. I was that excited for WrestleMania and put WWE Network on. I forgot what day it was. But it's WrestleMania weekend, to be fair. It's WrestleMania weekend. I know from watching Jeanette's live streams, you and obviously having used both on my Facebook, even though it's deactivated right now, I probably will reactivate it after this to mark my 10 years anniversary since I was at WrestleMania, the one and only WrestleMania I've been at. I assume just laughing at what Pixie's writing. I assume you and your son will be watching it, right? I'll be watching it with my younger cousins. One of my cousins hates wrestling. The other one is like a mini me. I promised him the other cousin that doesn't like fake fights, Alex Jones um, appreciation night as well. So he was sold. I think we banter, even for people that are not interested in wrestling. I think shows like WrestleMania can be fun. Wow, he worked in the strip. Wow, see. Mm. Interesting having wrestling in a place like that. See, if I were in a place like that, I wouldn't be thinking of wrestling. I've seen videos where people in bars were like reacting to the Undertaker's streak ending and stuff and getting all upset. Could be a damn good atmosphere in a pub. So my number one, the greatest, not just the greatest WrestleMania match of all time. To me, this is the greatest professional wrestling, to hell with sports entertainment term. This is the greatest professional wrestling match ever. Nothing comes near. WrestleMania 17, April 1st, 2001, from the Reliant Astrodome, which I've seen in person. I think it's fully demolished now. The greatest wrestler of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock. Main event, WrestleMania 17, their second WrestleMania match. Had everything. The two very popular superstars at the time going head to head at their best. This was their greatest match between themselves. And they were both good guys at the start. And just such a fantastic match. Now, Austin's bad guy run didn't really work after this. But this match was just, it had drama, it had electricity, had great in-ring wrestler too. I mean, well, it went from this to friggin' John Cena and The Miz in the main event 10 years later. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. I remember thinking they actually had a cameo backstage, The Rock and Austin at WrestleMania 27 together. It was 10 years after this match. And it's like, I wish it was still those days. I remember watching WrestleMania 27 live. I was quite lucky. This was the first WrestleMania I watched live. It's the best. It's still the best one ever by miles. There's a number of matches in this list that are from this show, and it's like I was watching WrestleMania 27. Like, how did we get from this, from that to this? And since this, a lot of people say this was the end of the Attitude Era, the last wrestling boom period, the last time WWE had competition when they were WWF. And Austin would retire a couple of years later. He stayed retired. The Rock went on to Hollywood, and we got John Cena. We got Roman Reigns. To me, wrestling, and I stayed a fan of wrestling years after Austin left, but I was never the same fan. To me, and I love the Golden Age too. I love Hogan's era. I think there was more talented wrestler in Hogan's era overall, but to me, the Attitude Era, because it had The Rock and Austin, it was a very special time, and I don't think wrestling's ever been as good or was as good before then. No problem at all, Jenna. No problem at all. And to me, WrestleMania 17 main event, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock. Dave the Mark Meltzer often gives out 6 stars, 7 stars to these New Japan matches. I've seen some of these New Japan matches. They don't touch this. It's a lot of fancy moves, risky moves, no psychology, no chemistry in these matches that I've seen. And to me, this one. Like, sometimes wrestling's so bad. I'm gonna have a drink of my tea before it gets stone cold. See what I did there? To me, apart from a few moments, wrestling is so bad these days. Not just the WWE, but just in general. It's terrible. I think it's the worst it's ever been. And the ratings numbers reflect that. You don't hear many people talk about wrestling anymore. And and sometimes I feel like if only I could go back in time and tell my 3-year-old young self to say, no, do not watch the second annual Survivor Series. Do not get hooked. Do not fall in love with wrestling. It's not worth it in the end. It turns to rubbish in the end. But as matches like this, I look back on thinking that's why I love this business. That's why I still, deep down inside me, have this passion for wrestling. It's because of The Rock and Austin 2 from WrestleMania 17, WrestleMania X7, whatever you want to call it. And nothing's touched it, in my opinion. Nothing has touched it. I believe this match was number 4 in WWE's official list. Number 4. I think Steamboat, Savage, and Brett, and Austin, and Michaels and Taker were ahead, which is, well, whatever. To me, I mean, I've seen Undertaker and Shawn Michaels in person, and wasn't as good as The Rock and Austin too, I'm afraid. As good as that match was, it wasn't as good for me. Anyways, I'm about to finish this WrestleMania live stream, my top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time. I'm not going to go through the list again, it'd be ridiculous. But number 1, I don't think will be beat ever. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock 2, their second WrestleMania match from the greatest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 17. And I think I'm going to wrap this stream up. I appreciate those who popped in. The raid was fun. Hope those who like wrestling that stumble across this replay will enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite WrestleMania matches of all time are. When we'll be back on YouTube? No schedule, no promises of when or where. I just really fancied getting this video done out of my system. I've talked about WrestleMania a lot in the past. Ranked and rated them all last year, all the matches, one by one. I never done this list before, so this was kind of fun. It was kind of hard ranking them because some are higher than others. Like some have got it all, like Austin and The Rock too, but some are in here because of the in-ring wrestling. Some are in because they're more moments than matches, but still, The Rock versus Hulk Hogan, for example. You wouldn't say it's the greatest in-ring wrestling match of all time, but I mean, it was so huge. Welcome, no problem at all, Pixie. I'm just about to wrap things up, actually. But I mean, to me, wrestling's more than just fancy moves, flip-flop moves. You can do all the flippity flip-flop moves in the world, but you only get once in a lifetime matches like the Rock versus Hogan. Once in a generation. That was special. And so let me know your favorite WrestleMania memories in the comments below. Looking back, I would say it was 10 years since I was in attendance for one of the worst WrestleManias of all time, but featured one of the best WrestleManias matches of all time, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. Pixie says, absolutely. Go back to the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, King of the Ring. We're going to do 5, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. Why not? Those 4 pay-per-views now, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, Rumble, WrestleMania, they've got the longest history, so why not keep them 4? And to me, like, pay-per-views like Hell in a Cell, TLC, it's all forced. It's like, when you do Hell in a Cell matches over and over again, they lose that kind of like appeal factor. I feel like if you have it each year, it's kind of forced. It sort of forces the feuds at the time to, all of a sudden they really hate each other. I really thought out properly the rest. To me, I totally agree with you. Less is more. Less is definitely, in wrestling's case, much, especially when it's not very good at the moment. Less is definitely more. So obviously I attended one, been a fan since '91. I've always had a soft spot for WrestleMania 8 because that was the first one I watched during the time it was released. I watched it the couple of days after, the day after. WrestleMania 17, the first one I watched live on television. And some great moments over the years, but not many of the 2010 matches appeared in this list. And because I don't think wrestling's been so good. I don't think I'm alone in that thinking. 4 or 5 pair, absolutely, I agree with that. Yeah, running out of new storylines too. But I will say I am enjoying the. I'm a very part-time WWE fan now. I watched the Rumble. I watched Survivor Series. I didn't bother with SummerSlam. I couldn't. Actually, I did watch SummerSlam. I just remembered I did watch SummerSlam, but my younger cousin was over and he wanted to watch it, so I had my laptop up for most of it. I thought SummerSlam was awful last year, and I am the women this year are making me want to watch it. I think Charlotte and Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey are really, really good. And you mentioned Raw, Pixie. Um, I put myself through Raw to do a video on here, and I managed 2 hours of Raw, and I had to tap out. I couldn't do it anymore. 3 hour show. I watched 2 hours of it, and I had to switch it off after the 2 hour mark. There was nothing happening. There's the breaks during the match is really annoying, irritating. Imagine, I know it's all fake and all that, but imagine if you're watching football and all of a sudden there's a break during it. I mean, it just takes you out of it. Ridiculous. Well, I can't blame you. I was watching it live and I was like, I can't. I, I'm wasting my. I just felt like I was wasting my life watching it. It was such a soul, and the best person on the show for me, anyways, was Ronda Rousey. I've watched she had a fantastic promo, and we'll see what happens this Sunday. I was just laughing earlier on, thinking about Charlotte Flair's about to. I like Charlotte Flair; she's really good. Not as good as her dad, but she is really good. And Ric Flair's just done. He's one of the all-time greats, of course. It's just funny. Ric Flair never headlined main event of WrestleMania, but his daughter will. That's quite funny. That's quite funny. You take care, Pixie. I did watch that, um, and I'll be thinking of you and Jeanette. I did see that, but I didn't like to comment or. I did watch the replay of that particular video, as I say, last night, and thank you very much for the. And you just look after yourselves, and I'll be thinking. I'll um, be thinking of yous. If Jeanette's live today or another day, I'll try and catch her live again, and yourself if you're ever live again. I'm going to wrap up the stream, folks. Okay, no problem. I'm going to reactivate my Facebook again soon. I've been deactivating it a lot lately. I can't be bothered with it, and I write too much. When I am active, type too much. And so I'm going to wrap up this stream. Pixie, take care, buddy. And if I don't see you or hear from me again. Enjoy WrestleMania 35. I'm going to be watching it live myself. And not sure what to expect, really. Will it be one of the best WrestleManias of all time? No. It might be. I'm going to make a prediction right now. I think it's going to be one of the worst I know this is doom and gloom. I think it's going to be one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. However, I think it's got potential to be one of those WrestleManias which has one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time. But obviously, I want every match to be great. I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my life watching this very long show. But that's my prediction for it, anyways. I have no interest in Brock Lesnar. I love Brock Lesnar, but I have no interest in Brocky versus Seth Rollins. None. Couldn't give a you know what about that match. Anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. That was my top PMDBs, top 35 WrestleMania matches of all time. Do. God bless.